When disaster strikes, the peaceful streets of suburbia can quickly turn into hotspots of chaos and uncertainty. While cities may get the headlines, those of us in the suburbs face our own unique set of challenges when it comes to staying safe and secure. In these situations, bugging in might be the best decision you can make to protect yourself and your loved ones. Welcome to Prepper's Paradigm, where we focus on providing you with practical, no-nonsense advice for every aspect of prepping and disaster preparedness. I'm Elijah, and today we're diving into a comprehensive guide on bugging in for suburban preppers. Before we get started, I want to mention that I use a computer-generated voice due to an injury that makes my own difficult to understand. I appreciate your understanding and support. Suburban areas might not be as densely packed as cities, but they come with their own set of challenges and advantages when it comes to bugging in. To prepare effectively, it's important to understand the layout and characteristics of the typical suburban landscape. First, let's talk about the demographics. Suburbs usually offer more space and resources compared to city center environments, but not as much as you'd find in rural areas. You're likely surrounded by single-family homes, apartment complexes, and small businesses. This mix can be both an asset and a liability when things go south. Now, consider the infrastructure. Suburban neighborhoods often have limited access points, which can work to your advantage when securing your property. However, this also means that if things get bad, you might face bottlenecks and traffic jams as people try to leave. Also, remember that suburbs rely heavily on grid utilities, electricity, water, and gas. These could become unreliable or even fail altogether in a crisis. While suburban areas might seem safer than urban centers, they aren't without risks. Break-ins and looting can become a real threat if the situation escalates. Additionally, because stores in suburban areas serve large populations, you could see supply shortages early on. Managing relationships with your neighbors can also be tricky. Some might be as prepared as you are, but others could come knocking when their own supplies run out. On the flip side, there are advantages. You probably have more storage space for your preps than someone in an urban apartment. If you've got a yard, you might even be able to grow some of your own food. And while a close-knit community can be a challenge in some ways, it can also be a resource. Just be careful about who you trust. Once you've assessed the suburban landscape, the next step is to ensure your home and property are secure. In a bug-in scenario, your home is your fortress, and you'll need to take steps to protect it from both external threats and potential intrusions. Let's start with physical security measures. First, reinforce your entry points. This means installing solid doors with heavy-duty deadbolt locks. Consider adding a security film to your windows to make them shatter-resistant. It's a simple but effective way to prevent break-ins. Next, think about your home's exterior. Motion-activated lights around your property can deter would-be intruders, especially at night. Installing security cameras gives you an extra set of eyes and can help you monitor any suspicious activity. If you have a larger yard, adding a fence or other barriers can further secure your perimeter. Make sure any fencing is high enough to deter climbing and solid enough to withstand a bit of force. Creating a layered defense is key. Start with your property boundary and work your way inward. For example, use landscaping to your advantage. Plant thorny bushes under windows to make entry difficult and unpleasant for intruders. Gravel driveways or walkways can serve as an early warning system, making noise when someone approaches. Inside your home, clear lines of sight can help you spot any intruders before they get too close. While it's important to secure your home, it's equally important to keep your preparations covert. Don't advertise your preps. Keep supplies out of sight from windows and avoid discussing your preparedness plans with too many neighbors. The less others know about what you have, the safer you'll be. Securing your home and property is about creating a balance between visible deterrents and hidden defenses. By fortifying your home, you increase your chances of successfully riding out a crisis in the safety of your own space. I've added a link in the video description to my ideas list for bugging in home security on Amazon. Make sure to check it out for some useful home security products. With your home and property secure, the next critical step in bugging in is making sure you have the supplies and resources you need to stay put for an extended period. Proper stockpiling and resource management are key to surviving any crisis while staying in your suburban home. Let's start with essential supplies. First and foremost is food and water. You'll want to stockpile enough non-perishable food to last your household for at least several weeks, if not longer. Think about items like canned goods, rice, beans, pasta, and freeze-dried meals. These foods have a long shelf life and can provide the nutrition you need without requiring refrigeration. Water is even more important than food. Aim for at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Store water in large, sturdy containers, and consider investing in a rainwater collection system or a well if your property allows for it. A water filtration system is also essential in case either your municipal water supply becomes contaminated or fails, or you have to use rainwater or other natural sources. Next, let's talk about medical supplies. A well-stocked first aid kit is a must. Include bandages, antiseptics, pain relievers, and any prescription medications your family needs. Consider adding over-the-counter medications for common ailments, as well as vitamins to keep your immune system strong. If you or someone in your household relies on prescription medications, make sure you have a sufficient supply to last through an extended emergency. Power and heat are other vital considerations. Depending on where you live, you may face the risk of power outages during a crisis. A backup power source, like a generator or a portable power station, can keep essential appliances running. I like the Anchor Solix range of portable power stations, linked in the video description. For heating, especially in colder climates, stock up on firewood or alternative fuel sources like propane to keep warm if the grid goes down. Once you have your supplies, proper storage is key. Utilize your garage, basement, or attic to maximize storage space. Store food in cool, dry areas to extend its shelf life. Rotate your stock regularly to ensure nothing goes to waste. Discreetly store supplies to avoid them being easily found by potential looters or unprepared neighbors. It's best to keep your supplies out of sight and out of mind for anyone who might come looking. Managing your resources wisely is just as important as having them in the first place. Develop conservation strategies to make your supplies last longer. Ration your water, food, and energy based on the number of people in your household and the duration of the crisis. For waste disposal, especially if municipal services are disrupted, have a plan in place. Consider options like composting organic waste and safely storing trash to avoid attracting pests or creating unsanitary conditions. By stockpiling essential supplies and managing them effectively, you'll be better equipped to ride out any crisis from the safety and security of your own home. While securing your home and stockpiling supplies are critical parts of bugging in, dealing with your neighbors and the wider community can be just as important. How you interact with those around you during a crisis can significantly impact your safety and the security of your resources. First, it's essential to assess your neighbors. Every suburban neighborhood is different, and understanding who lives around you can help you plan accordingly. Some of your neighbors might be well prepared, while others could be completely unprepared. Take note of who might be an asset in a crisis and who could potentially become a liability. This assessment doesn't mean you need to pry into your neighbors' lives, but being aware of their general preparedness level and personalities can be valuable. Creating alliances with like-minded neighbors can be beneficial. If you know others who are preppers or at least have some preparedness mindset, consider reaching out to them before a crisis hits. These relationships can provide mutual support, whether it's for sharing information, defense, or even bartering supplies. However, it's crucial to approach this carefully. You don't want to reveal too much about your own preparations until you're sure you can trust someone. Start by discussing general preparedness topics and gauge their responses before diving into any specifics. Defending against unprepared neighbors can be one of the most challenging aspects of bugging in. In a crisis, people who didn't prepare may turn to those who did. You might find neighbors knocking on your door, asking for help or supplies. It's important to plan how you'll handle these situations before they arise. One approach is to have a limited amount of supplies set aside specifically for charity or to help others. This allows you to help without compromising your main stockpile. However, be careful. Helping one person could lead to others finding out, so discretion is key. In some cases, you may need to turn people away, especially if helping them puts your family's safety at risk. This can be a difficult decision, but it's one you need to be prepared to make. Practice what you'll say and how you'll say it to avoid confrontation. Remember, maintaining a low profile is crucial. If word spreads that you have resources, you could become a target. Another aspect to consider is community defense. If the situation escalates and looting or other threats become a real concern, you may need to band together with trusted neighbors to protect your area. This could involve setting up neighborhood watch rotations or even establishing a collective defense plan. However, this should be done with great caution, as involving too many people can complicate things and increase risks. Throughout all of this, communication is key. Stay informed about what's happening in your neighborhood and beyond. Use radios or other non-reliant forms of communication to keep in touch with trusted neighbors and stay updated on the broader situation. By understanding how to interact with your neighbors and the wider community, you can protect your resources, maintain your safety, and navigate the complexities of social dynamics during a crisis. As you settle into a bug-in scenario, staying informed and being able to adapt as the situation evolves are crucial to your survival. No matter how well prepared you are, things can change rapidly during a crisis, and your ability to stay on top of developments can make all the difference. First, let's talk about communication tools. In any crisis, reliable information is key. Unfortunately, in many disaster scenarios, traditional communication networks like the internet and cell service can become unreliable or even fail entirely. That's why it's essential to have alternative methods for staying connected. One popular option among preppers is GMRS radios, or General Mobile Radio Service. These radios offer good range, are relatively easy to use, and don't require as much technical knowledge as ham radios. GMRS radios are great for communicating with family members or nearby neighbors, especially in a suburban setting. I've added links to some great options in the video description. Keep in mind that GMRS radios require a license from the FCC, but it covers your entire family and is fairly simple to obtain. Next, consider adding a CB radio to your setup. CB, or Citizens Band Radio, is another reliable option for short-range communication, especially if you want to connect with others in your local area. Unlike GMRS, CB radios don't require a license, making them accessible to everyone. For those who want even more range and flexibility, ham radios are an excellent choice. These radios allow you to communicate with people miles away and offer a wealth of information that can be critical during a widespread disaster. While ham radios do require a license, the skills and knowledge you gain from learning how to use them can be invaluable. Make sure you know how to operate these tools before a crisis hits and have backup power sources ready to keep them operational. Staying informed isn't just about communication, it's also about observation. Keep an eye on what's happening in your neighborhood. If you notice unusual activity, such as an increase in traffic, people leaving or arriving in large numbers, or signs of unrest, take note and be ready to adjust your plans accordingly. This situational awareness can give you early warning of potential threats. Adapting your plans is just as important as having them in the first place. Flexibility is key in a crisis. For example, if you plan to bug in for 2 weeks, but the situation is escalating or dragging on, you may need to extend your timeline or even consider bugging out as a last resort. Regularly reassess your situation, supplies, and the external environment to make informed decisions about whether to stay put or move. Sometimes, adapting might mean changing your daily routines to conserve resources or avoid drawing attention. For instance, you might need to reduce energy consumption to stretch out your fuel supply, or you could adjust your schedule to avoid being outside during potentially dangerous times. Knowing when to change strategies is vital. If the suburban area you're in becomes too dangerous, with increasing looting, violence, or other threats, you might have to rethink your bug-in plan. This could involve moving to a secondary location if you have one, or even bugging out entirely if the situation becomes untenable. Make sure you have a bug-out plan in place, even if your initial intention is to stay put. Having this backup plan gives you options and peace of mind. By staying informed and remaining adaptable, you ensure that you're not just reacting to a crisis, but actively managing your response. This proactive approach can help you navigate the unpredictable nature of any disaster scenario, keeping you and your loved ones safe. As we wrap up this guide to bugging in for suburban preppers, let's quickly recap the key points we've covered and how you can start putting these strategies into action today. First, we talked about understanding the suburban landscape. Your neighborhood's layout, population density, and infrastructure all play a role in how you'll approach bugging in. Knowing these factors helps you anticipate challenges and leverage advantages specific to suburban living. Next, we focused on securing your home and property. We discussed practical steps to fortify your home, create a layered defense, and keep your preparations covert. Remember, your home is your fortress, and taking the time to secure it properly is crucial to your safety. We then moved on to stockpiling and resource management. Having enough food, water, medical supplies, and backup power is essential for any bug in scenario. We also covered smart storage solutions and how to manage your resources effectively to ensure they last as long as needed. Dealing with neighbors and community interaction was another important topic. Whether it's assessing potential allies, defending against unprepared neighbors, or creating discrete plans for charity, managing relationships during a crisis can significantly impact your security. Finally, we emphasized the importance of staying informed and adapting to the situation. Whether it's through alternative communication methods, situational awareness, or knowing when to change your plans, being proactive and flexible can make all the difference in a crisis. Now that you have a comprehensive understanding of how to bug in effectively in the suburbs, it's time to start taking action. Begin by assessing your home and neighborhood, then start working on your security measures and stockpiling essential supplies. Don't wait until a crisis hits to get prepared. Start now so you can confidently face whatever comes your way. Don't forget to check out the links in the video description for some items you may find useful. If you found this guide helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more practical prepping tips, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you're preparing and any additional strategies you found effective. Thanks for watching, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.